How we doing, fam? It's your boy Kicks coming at you live from the, as Mike would say, the Shoe Palace. Hope you guys are all doing well. I am doing fantastic. I am in a much better mood. You guys see the title, man. Finally figured out the issues of what was going on with this thing. The funniest thing is, since we've done this swap, like out of all possible things that can go wrong with a swap like this, it's always the smallest thing that causes me sleepless nights, headaches, money, stressing out. Like, bruh, it is ridiculous what it always turns out to be. If you guys were keeping up with the updates on this car, the last time I made a video on it was maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I had started it up. This thing was completely running like crap. I'm talking probably misfires on all cylinders, limp mode. Bro, I had thick white smoke like just spewing out. The throttle bodies weren't opening all the way. Like, there was just so many things that were happening with this car. The accelerator pedal wouldn't work. It sucked because I had my guy come out here and wire everything up on this car. You know, the headlights, sunroof, windows, mirrors, blinkers, brake lights, like all that stuff works now. When he was finished with the job, when I first started it up, it was running how it was in the last video. So if you guys didn't see the last video on how bad this thing was running when I turned it on, I'll show you guys that real quick. All right, so you guys can clearly see the car sounds horrible. It's just misfiring like crazy. It's just throwing all kind of smoke out. I'm just like, bruh, I don't know what is wrong with this car. It put me in a crappy position because I'm like, man, like I know this guy knows what he's doing, and I don't want to blame him for my car running like this. So I was trying to pick his brain a little bit, trying to see exactly what he touched, and he's like, nah, man, I really didn't touch none of the Z stuff. He's like, my work was pretty much all straightforward, only with the S15 stuff. A lot of you guys probably won't be familiar with this. So what we did on this car was a PDM setup. It's basically like a standalone ECU for all the electric stuff on your car. Headlights, folding mirrors, windows, sunroof, blinkers, all that stuff is wired up and programmed through the PDM. And I will show you guys what that looks like, and we actually put it in a pretty cool spot too. I don't have an airbag no more, but there it is right there. It's super easy still to access. It's hidden. Voila. So that is the PDM. So that thing is really cool. It's a fuseless type of deal, so if the car was to like blow a fuse, all you had to do is just boom, reset it, hit the breaker. Nothing ever happened. Can't wait to actually, you know, drive the car and see how that works later on down the road. It only gets power from one source, so you literally unplug it and it was like it's never installed. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe the car doesn't like this PDM setup. Maybe it's drawing too much amps or something, and it's just throwing the car into like limp mode and just doing something weird. So I was like, all right, well, let me unplug it. Only problem there is we had the fuel pump switch wired up to the PDM. My boy Joey came through and we wired up just a switch just to turn the fuel pump on. So that way I can unplug the PDM and start the car up that way. That way in my head, I can be like, all right, it was not his work. It has nothing to do with the PDM, has nothing to do with what he did. And at that point, it should be a little bit easier for us to find the issue. So we did that, started the car up without the PDM, same-ish. So I'm like, bruh, it was still misfiring, still smoking, still sounded like complete crap. So I'm like, all right, bruh, it has to be something else now. So, you know, we're just like going over the grounds and just checking this, checking that, but like nothing's making sense. And you guys will not believe what it was. Like, I still can't believe the car was running that horrible from this one little thing. All right, so he pulls off one of, and I already did this like plenty of times. So he had pulled off one of the MAF sensor plugs. You know, we're looking at it, inspecting the plug, like it's cool, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. So we're like, But he just so happened to just look inside, and I don't know if you guys can see, You guys can see. All right, so you see obviously the little pins. One of the pins was bent. Just one. Not all of them. It wasn't broken off, like just one was bent. So obviously it wasn't making contact inside of the plug. So he saw that and he's like, well, I mean, this is a start. This might be somewhat of an issue. So he bent the little pin back, plugged it back in, crossed my fingers, started the car again, boom, back to normal. Car revved, sounded a lot better, wasn't misfiring like crazy. I was just like, bro, I just could not believe that that one little thing had this car running like complete crap. So all we had to do right now is I need to extend the O2 wires and put both of the O2 sensors in, and the car should sound and run a lot better after that. But I mean, even for a startup right now with no O2s, it doesn't sound too bad. I think I have a few exhaust leaks that I need to fix and readjust on the kit a little bit. So I told my boy Taylor that did all the wiring for me, and I'm pretty sure he was relieved. I never blamed him for anything. It was just like, man, the car wasn't doing this before we did all the wiring. So it's like, why is it doing it all of a sudden? I told him, he was stoked about it. He's super happy now, because I'm pretty sure I had him scratching his head too, like, what did I do wrong, you know? So I felt kind of bad. Now that the car turns on, it revs, it, you know, kind of idles normal. I need to do like a custom paper gasket for the other manifold and get another fuel rail to put on my polished manifold back on. But that's like the least of my concerns. So right now, all the car really needs to get on the road, we got to get those O2s in, and I really have to figure out what is wrong with my shifter kit. I don't know what's wrong with it. We're gonna have to put this thing on a lift and try to figure out what's wrong with the kit, because it goes into none of the odd gears. It barely even want to go into second anymore. That's like 1.5. Fourth is fine, solid. Doesn't even want to go into sixth. I don't know. So something's wrong with this thing. I already took it off from the top, tried to adjust it. That did absolutely nothing. So I don't know. I had to look for maybe another shifter kit. This is the G-Tech one, and from what I heard, it's trash. So I'm just gonna have to take it to probably George's shop and figure out what's going on with the shifter thing, because I absolutely cannot drive the car without that working. As far as the hood, I already tried to fit the hood. It clearly does not fit. I can run like spacers, but I do not like that look at all. It looks so tacky to me. I don't want to run hood spacers. It just looks so ugly to me. I want the hood to close like OEM. So what I'm probably gonna do, most likely I'm gonna get a carbon hood and just cut the inside of that one, so I don't have to cut this one up, because this one is mint condition. I know it looks like crap right now, but it's mint condition hood, nothing wrong with it. I don't want to have to cut it up. I'd rather cut the carbon one. Yeah, man, I think it's time to finally start this thing up. Like I said, keep in mind the car doesn't have any O2s on it, and there is probably a few exhaust leaks, so it's not gonna sound the best, but it does sound pretty good. It has a nice little growl to it. This is the first time I really got to hear the car, because every time I started it, it was just like rigged up to start for a couple seconds, or it just was misfiring or had some kind of problem. I've always been real curious to hear how the car was gonna sound with these equal length manifolds. She's not smoking like crazy anymore. I have no idea why all of a sudden when we fixed that MAV problem, the car doesn't smoke anymore. It doesn't really make any sense to me, but the only thing I can think of is just there was just a lot of like condensation and maybe some oil trapped in the exhaust and the manifolds. It doesn't smoke nearly as bad. It was just coming out, bro, like a damn choo-choo train.
minutes later.
Okay, still in there spinning my little compa. Well, yeah, guys, there she is. Fires right up, no hesitation. Turns on like OEM. Like I said, I'm not completely happy with how it sounds. I can definitely hear there's a couple leaks under the car, but as far as the idle and the throatiness of the exhaust and the setup, I think it sounds pretty good. It definitely doesn't have the same sound as the NAZ or my Boosted Z. Just they sound completely different. On the startup, it sounds a little bit like the Boosted Z for a second, but you could tell it just has a different tone, and it's most likely going to be because of the manifolds on here. But I'm real curious to see how this thing's going to sound under boost. You guys seen the lights on and stuff? The car is almost ready, man. It's just now. It's just knocking out this small stuff. I actually put it in gear. It went into second gear and the car moved a little bit. I didn't obviously go all the way, but second gear works. The car will move. So I really got to figure out what's going on with that shifter kit. Now that this thing starts on its own, without doing any crazy stuff, and it's sounding normal, I am getting hyped, man. Finally. I know, guys, it's been so long. Trust me, man. I know. But hey, man, good things take time. Pyramids weren't built overnight, you know what I'm saying? I got more content coming. I'm gonna have a G35 update for you guys too. Like I said, man, this is my year, guys. I need to finish all the cars, man, and maybe even buy something new at the end of the year. But right now, my focus is just finishing this, finishing the G35, and hopefully we can have a dope summer, man. That's my plan. My plan is to be outside this summer, bro. I want to be driving all my cars. Even though this thing ain't got no AC, we're gonna bring it out at like midnight or something. But appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. Drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Catch you in the next video.